All right, you can see I've got that one in. And what I did was, well, I can show you. I epoxied the whole thing, then I come back and ground about a 1-inch circle out. That way I have epoxy all in between, and then I just come back over and shoot my weld-through primer over top. That way I have epoxy everywhere except for these 1-inch circles. And so if anything goes underneath there, this weld-through primer is not great protectant like epoxy is. So I'd rather have epoxy everywhere. I was trying to put little 1-inch round dots on there. That turned into a pain in the butt, so I thought, you know what, I'll just paint the whole thing, come back in, grind it off. And so that's what I've done. You can see there, I went ahead and welded that back on. And there's the, not quite 1 inch, but about that. And that's about how far the burn ring goes when I'm welding that. So you can see here, you know, comes out about 1 inch. So that one's done. Getting ready to do that one. And what I'm talking about. Look, I just went ahead and primed this one spot because I knew I was going to put this back down. And then I just come back in and real quick. Little spot about like that. And that way I have epoxy everywhere except those little spots, and I have weld through right there. That's just the way I do it. I wouldn't do it the way I do it because there's better ways to do it. I don't know what they are, but that's the way I do it. So, but again, I wouldn't follow me because I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, so that's that. Getting ready to weld that back on here, have these done. Got to grind those top of those welds back down, and then I'll come back over and eventually shoot some epoxy back over this deal. Probably when I do this whole thing here, to cover those metal spots. And I'll probably take that weld through off there as well, because you don't want to epoxy over the weld through because it's just doesn't stick. So that's why I do it the way I'm doing it. Showed you guys the motor already. So I decided to bite the bullet and go with the TR6060 Magnum, top of the line, 6-speed transmission with a RST twin blah 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 clutch and Ring Brothers, all the stuff. I've got everything that goes with that transmission: clutch, pressure plate, flywheel, shifter, everything. I bought all of it from the same place at one time. Silver Star silver something silver transmissions, and I forgot. But anyway, a lot of money, a whole lot of money. But I thought, you know, I haven't really chanced out on anything else on this car. Like literally I've got DSE, strange Mosier axles, strange center chunk, got the Ford 9-inch narrowed rear end, DSE mini tubs, I got DSE front subframe, DSE 4-link suspension, quadrillink 4-link suspension. Everything on this car is as top of the line as I can afford. And at the time I bought all that stuff was top of the line. Now I know some people are going with Speed Tech and different things like that, but I got what I got. So the only thing I kind of chinched on is the motor, which motor's gonna come and go. That may blow up a week after I put it in. I don't know, but it'll be great for mocking everything up. So I'll put the transmission, everything together, put it on the subframe, get everything set up. That way when I put this back together, I can get that underneath there lined up right, and kind of see what I'm gonna need to do for my transmission tunnel, what I'm gonna have to cut, because I wanna do that now, obviously, because right here, why not? Instead of crawling in the car trying to do that, you know, I can cut this transmission tunnel. I got a hold of Juby the other day, and he helped me out. Thank you, Juby. So while I had these off, he was saying that sometimes the one on the passenger side is a little bit off. He said, I think like a half a hole. It's kind of about a ½ inch, I guess. And so while I had these off, I thought, man, I need to call and find out or see if I can get the dimensions on that, which he said was 30 inches. And I thought he was saying 30 inches from this hole, but he's not. He was saying 30 inches from the hole inside there. So 30 inches from there to here. And I'm about 29 and a half-ish. But the thing is I'm 29 and a half perfectly on both of them. So one of them's not off. What I need to do is pull the whole floor back about a ½ inch, which kind of screws up my holes that I made there. But I'm glad I got it now instead of after I weld all that together and go, crap, you know, it's a ½ inch off or whatever. So yeah, this can come back. Obviously it's got room to come back. So I'll just slide it back a little bit. Hopefully that'll take care of that space issue. I really want to, once I get this right, do what he did and build out like these here. I built this, do the same type of thing. Let's see what I can do with those things. I'll show you what I'm talking about if I can find one of them. Thrown all in here. I did this for this area right here when I was taking the car apart. Basically right under there, I did it right there, and you can see where I welded. Actually, it would have been like this. I welded that to hold it. Well, I don't really need that, so I may just cut that loose and do something like that, but bring it under here instead. And I need to do something different here too, so I can extend this out so a bolt will go up through it. I can bolt that like that. But anyway, this kind of deal, what I'm talking about, it's kind of nice. You move it in and out, whatever. You take them off if they're, you know, could get in the way or whatever, because I've had to crawl through here and get underneath and stuff. But anyway, I won't need those anymore, so yeah, I could actually move those over, extend this out a little bit and use them for that. But having that number is extremely important, so thank you, Jimmy, for that. He's a wealth of information. I just can't say enough good about him. I mean, there's just not many people in the world that will give you the information that he gives you for free. Most people want to get paid. You know, they're like, yeah, I get paid $75 an hour for this information. You want it, bring your car in here and I'll fix it, you know. But to give us do-it-yourselfers at home that information to keep us from screwing our projects up is priceless. So again, thank you for that. And you know, what else to say about that? Anyway, so that's what I'm doing here. Transmission is going to be here Monday. So I'll be able to mock all that up and get it set up. So I've got everything now. Engine, transmission, rear end. I don't have the drive shaft. I need to get a drive shaft, but I'm gonna have to measure that out once I get the transmission. And some of you may say, well, you're not even close. Well, actually, I kind of am, and I need to do this now because I don't want to weld all this together and then, like I said, have to crawl in the car and do this, that, and the other when I can do it right now. Get it mocked up under there, put it where it needs to be, bolt it in, get it squared up, lined up, and then say, okay, I need to cut this off and bring it up 2 inches or whatever it is. The transmission I bought, I can use a stock console, which is what I plan on doing, which is really nice because it has multiple locations, so you can move it in different locations with this transmission. The transmission is supposed to have 750 foot-pounds of torque you can apply to it, so it's supposed to be, it should be as much as I'll ever need. So, and the gear ratio is like 266 first gear and then 0.63 last gear or sixth gear. So I should be able to run 80 miles an hour on the highway and just be buzzing along at 2,000 RPMs. So that'll be nice. So anyway, that's it. I'm gonna continue to do this, weld this on, and if I get anything else interesting, I'll I'll get back with you. See you guys. All right, so little tip from me to you. You guys, a lot of probably already know this, but in case you don't, you don't have a place, say all this is all beautiful and you're trying to weld something on here and you don't have anywhere to stick it to the bare metal. You've got all these little spots here. You can do what I've done here. Put your ground clamp to this, weld all that up, then move it to another one and then weld that one last. You can do that instead of having to grind a spot or trying to take a magnet. I've done that. I've got magnets that you see down there. You can clamp onto those magnets. They work if you have a big bare spot to stick them to. But if you don't, then that's an alternative. So let's see how well that works. For you guys that don't know me, I joke a lot. My sense of humor is pretty dry, I don't know what you call it, but like I make jokes and a lot of times they go over people's heads. They're like, what did he say? I'm making a joke or I quote a movie or something like that. And maybe they've never seen the movie. So if you're wondering if I'm confusing sometimes, that's why. All right, let's do this one. And I am going to go this direction because I need it to push up against that instead of bouncing around. And there's not going to be enough heat in each one of these to worry about it doing anything crazy. But yeah, I want it to travel that way to suck up tight against that. So just another little thing I do. Nope, that didn't take. A lot of times I go out on the outside. That time I went on the inside and hit the weld through primer. A lot of times I'll go around the outside and dip in, basically start arc on the outside, dip it in, and then go around. That way you know it's going to fire up. Hopefully that's showing that. So yeah, just more of the same here. Some of these are all the way through, that's why it's doing that. On those that are all the way through, you kind of got to take that outer circle and then go towards the middle. Like that. That one was all the way through. Get a nice flat weld. You want to not ball that up as much as possible because that just causes more grinding for you. I said a lot of you guys already know this, but for new guys who are watching, learning how to weld and stuff, welding to me is probably the most important thing you're going to learn how to do when you're restoring a car, because that's what's holding your car together. And so if you've got a cold weld and it pops loose, man, your car's, it's just not going to be good. So you need to make sure your weld's nice and hot, penetrates good. It's not too balled up. You can tell, so you see some guys' welds that are just look like a dog was taking a crap and just kept walking while he's taking a crap, and it just kind of dropped all over the place. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to stay, bud. But that's why for me to you, learn how to weld the best you can, and make sure it's got good penetration, make sure your machine's set right, listen for that, the consistent popping sound that you're hearing on this one. Just that much fills it in. You're not on there a long time. It's not putting a bunch of heat into it. It's gonna make that about an inch. So it's not really getting into my epoxy. So, you know, there's probably better ways to do this. I don't know. I've seen a lot of guys just spray the whole thing. That's fine, that's great. Not a problem. For me, I want this epoxy in between. Because like I said, this weld through is just not, I put weld through on stuff and I've actually had it thrown out in the outside in the elements and it'll rust. It's just not, it's good for sandwiching. It's kind of a, what do we call that? A better than nothing product. But yeah, the epoxy is the way to go. But yeah, I mean, you can do it either way, it doesn't matter. This is gonna be inside the car. It should never get wet unless I, you know, have muddy shoes or whatever and wet and get in here and it somehow makes it through the carpet and the Dynamat and all the other stuff, but I kind of doubt it. But, and this is overkill for that reason, but, and I need, I need a longer clamp. Like this one right here. And over here next to it. Pull it down tight. I'm all hopped up on caffeine, so if you're wondering, so I'm kind of jittery too. There you can see, nice and flat, good penetration, and I'll get underneath there and check the underside, but it should be real nice. But yeah, you can see, nice and flat. You don't want it all balled way up here because you're just having to grind all that off, and that's a pain in the butt. Yeah, be sure you get your welder set up right. Try to get it the best you can. That way, it's less work on you, and it's less grinding and throwing that crap all over your shop and all that stuff too. So, all right, guys.